everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel and welcome to another fantasy romance reading vlog. So I am very excited to be making this video. This is my absolute favorite video to make. It brings me so much joy to discover new fantasy romances. Hopefully they will work out and I will be able to share some new favorites with you. So per usual, if you've never seen one of these fantasy romance reading vlogs, typically how it goes down is I have a list of like 5 or 6 fantasy romances in my head that I want to read, and then I usually pick like 3 or 4 to share it in this vlog. As the week goes on, I will kind of just see whatever book sparks my fancy, whatever gets me excited, and I'll pick that up and read it for this vlog. As of right now, I have already started a book. It's not like typically a book that I would put in a fantasy romance reading vlog, basically because, well, here, let me share it with you first. So the first book I'm going to be reading in this vlog is Mother of Death and Dawn by Carissa Broadbent. This is the 3rd book and the finale of the War of Lost Hearts trilogy, the first book being Daughter of No Worlds. I say that this is not like the typical book that I put in this type of vlog, mainly because I like to read the first book in a series in these vlogs, or a standalone. Basically something that I can talk about more openly with you, but because this is the finale, it's the end, I can't really say much, right? But I still wanted to include it in this vlog. 1, because it's what I'm in the mood for and I want to read it. And 2, I feel like it'll be nice for me to show you guys my reaction to the ending of this trilogy, and is this whole trilogy worth it for you all? So that is why this is going to be the first book that I vlog in this video. And spoiler alert, thus far, this finale is definitely worth reading the entire trilogy for. I really loved the first 2 books. I gave Daughter of No Worlds 5 stars. I gave it Children of Fallen Gods 4 stars. And then this, I mean, I don't know. I have no idea what I'm going to give this book. I hope that I give it 5 stars. It is the finale. I usually love the last book in a series, so I'll definitely be doing more vague reading updates as I go through this. I'll just kind of give you my overall general reactions. And let me tell you, I am on, let's see, I'm on page 216. So I started this last night. Pain. So much pain. This is, yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to go through. I'm feeling every emotion. The ending of the 2nd book was cruel and unusual punishment. And we are seeing the aftermath of that and seeing kind of how that storyline that we ended in the 2nd book is manifesting in this book. And it's not great. It's not great. I mean, it is great, but it's just so painful and frustrating. And I just want like the happy times to come. But I will say the writing is great. I love these characters so much. I love this world. I'm actually sad that this is the last book. I really love Max and Tassan. I really love Samarin. Moth. I really have bonded with these characters, and so I am sad to be ending the trilogy, but I'm very excited to see how we're going to wrap everything up. I am about 30% of the way done with this book, and thus far it's been like super frustrating. That's not a bad thing though. I'm just so like, the storyline that we're dealing with right now is just horrific, and that's all I can say. So that is going to be the first reading update for Mother of Death and Dawn. I am really hopeful that things turn around and we get some happiness. But this book is about 700 pages and I'm only on page like 215. So I think it's gonna be a while before we get there, but that's okay. I do like my characters to go through it a little bit before we get our happy ending, but like, I just feel like, okay, it's been enough. Like, let's move on. So today is Sunday and I'm going to spend probably the rest of the day reading. I would love to hit the 50% mark today and then check in with you all. So wish me luck. I'm diving back in. Hopefully I'm feeling better. Hopefully the mood of this book will shift, because right now it is just like emotional turmoil on every page. So I am going to go read more of this, and I will talk to you guys when I am a little further into it. Hey guys, so it is time for another check-in. This one will probably be pretty quick as I am very close to finishing Mother of Death and Dawn. Well, very close. I'm on page 463. I think when I talked to you guys last, I was on page like 216. The book has 700 pages, so I have about 250 pages left. I am hopefully going to finish this book today, so I want to check in before I do that. Can I just say, I teared up 4 times while reading this book so far. It is so emotional, and like I teared up for like really beautiful things like love proclamations, but then I also teared up at really sad things that I'm just like, why is this happening? Oh my god. So truly, this is definitely the most emotional book in the trilogy. I feel so emotionally connected to these characters and I love them so much. This is definitely a character-driven fantasy romance, so I just really appreciate all of their story arcs. And yeah, I'm very curious to see how we're going to wrap all of this up. There's still a lot going on. I'm very excited to finish it. I'm really loving this book. I think so far it's a very good finale. Once I am done with this, I will give you guys my final thoughts and my final rating and how I feel about the trilogy as a whole. So I just wanted to check in, say hello to you guys, and let you know that I'm going to finish this book right now. I will talk to you probably tomorrow with my final thoughts. Hey guys, so I have exciting reading updates. So yesterday I actually ended up finishing Mother of Death and Dawn, completing the War of Lost Hearts trilogy by Carissa Broadbent. This book was incredible, absolutely amazing. I loved it so much. I think I teared up a total of like 7 or 8 times throughout this book. It was extremely emotional, really well done character relationships, really well done character arcs throughout the trilogy, and I just can't believe that this is over. This is definitely one of my all-time favorite fantasy romances. I definitely recommend the entire series now that I've finished the final book. I'm just sad. I'm sad to be leaving Max and Tasana. They are one of my favorite fantasy couples, and I definitely think that I will be rereading this book in the future. It is so good. It's really just interesting to look back on where the series started and where we ended up, and I really enjoyed this finale. I will say there were a couple of technical issues that I had with it. I'll just very quickly go into those. Basically, my biggest gripe with this book, and it's not something that overshadowed my enjoyment of the book, but just something that I definitely think is of note, is the thing that ends up kind of resolving the entire war and political conflict that we deal with throughout the trilogy. The magical concept that ends up resolving that issue gets introduced in this book, and I really think it would have been better served if that concept was introduced earlier on in the series, like in book 2 or even book 1. Even just the idea of it, because we have no idea that this magical concept, I'm trying to be vague, but we have no idea that this thing exists, and then it gets introduced in this book and it ends up being highly significant and like the thing that solves all of our problems. So just for me, I think I would have enjoyed if that concept was introduced earlier on, because it did feel a little bit rushed and a little bit like out of nowhere, out of left field, but then ended up being so incredibly important and incredibly significant to the overall story. So not something that deterred my enjoyment, but just something of note that I definitely, I just wish that it had been extended a little bit longer. But I will say, I think that Carissa's strength lies in her characterization. This is a character-driven fantasy romance, I will say, and the way that Tasana and Max changed over the trilogy, I think was really well done. It's so like, Max was just so grumpy and very anarchist in the beginning of the series, and he goes through a lot of changes and trauma throughout the series, and so does Tasana. Tasana is an extremely strong character, one of the strongest main characters I've ever read, and I just really loved her. I really connected to her. I think one of the triumphs of this entire trilogy, I'm not going to say what character it is because I don't want to spoil it, but there is a character in this trilogy who I think Carissa does a really good job of writing as extremely morally gray. Throughout the entire trilogy, I don't know how to feel about this character. I've now finished the trilogy and I still don't know. They are written as bad, as villainous, but I still feel for them. And I feel like that's a really hard thing to do. I feel like oftentimes villains can be very, one-dimensional, one note, and like this person is bad and this person is good. Carissa did a really good job with this character, and they're one of my favorite characters, even though like they are technically a bad guy, but like I really enjoyed that. I thought it was super well done. I think that speaks to Carissa's writing, particularly with the writing characters and making them multidimensional. I will say overall, this trilogy is not perfect. There are a couple technical issues, but I loved it. I had a really great time. It brought a lot of emotions out of me, and you guys know I say this all the time, but I'm a character girl, and if I can connect to a character, really get to know them, really get to know what makes them tick, and see them grow from the beginning of the series, and I feel like have a satisfying ending, I'm all about it. So I did give this book 5 stars. I really loved it. I would say the overall trilogy, I give like a 4.5 star rating. The only reason is because I did give the second book 4 stars, but like it was still so good. So please read this series if you like fantasy romance. I think that if you are a fan of Sarah J. Maas books, Carissa should be your next like author that you pick up, because truly the only, Sarah J. Maas is my favorite fantasy romance author. ACOTAR I think is a really great fantasy romance series. I think it's like, it just does the genre so well. I think that is fantasy romance to me. Carissa Broadbent is the only other author that I've read from who I feel like gives me that feeling that Sarah's books give me. Not quite at the level, but Carissa, I think does so well at being original and writing her characters with a lot of heart and really pulling at your heartstrings, focusing on romance, focusing on the fantasy plot, and I think it all just comes together really well. So she is like my number 2 fantasy romance author for sure. I really don't think anyone else comes close, and I'm so glad that I have finished this series. I do think that Carissa has a few other books. I know she has some like prequel novellas for this series in particular. She also has some anthologies. I don't think I'm going to be reading those though. I know that like this series and then the one she's working on right now, the Crowns of Nyaxia series, are like her 2 big series, and I think I'm just gonna stick with those. But if you have read her other books and you want to tell me like what you thought of them, if they're worth a read, let me know. Overall, I just absolutely love this trilogy, and I'm sad that I finished it, but it feels good. And yeah, I love Max and Tasana forever. All right, so the next fantasy romance that I decided to start during this vlog is House of Feeding Wings by Olivia Wildstein. This was gifted to me by Nadia at Books and Drafts. Nadia, thank you once again. This book is absolutely gorgeous, and I did not realize this when I opened it on camera. I don't think I did, at least, but the end pages are so stunning in this book. I love that even in a paperback, it has really beautiful end pages. And here you can get a glimpse at what the main character looks like. So I am only, let me see, I'm on chapter 11, which is page 72. I actually started reading this on my Kindle last night, and I got to page like 100, and I was so excited. And then I went to go put my bookmark where I was at in my physical book from where I was at in my Kindle, and I'm only on page 72 physically, so kind of a bummer. But House of Feeding Wings. This is a new adult fantasy romance series. Our main character's name is Fallon, and Fallon is half fae and half human. She lives in a kingdom that is very heavily inspired by Venice, Italy, which is a really cool setting. There's canals and gondolas. She is Italian. I mean, they don't say Italian, but the names are all very Italian. Her grandmother speaks Italian to her, so kind of reminds me of Kingdom of the Wicked a little bit in that respect. In this world, half fae and half humans are really disregarded and treated very poorly, and actually live separately from the fae and from royalty, and are just kind of looked down upon. All of Fallon's life, she has kind of, you know, she's struggled. She's lived a hard life because she is half fae and half human. She doesn't have any powers, but when she was very young, she fell into one of the canals, and one of the sea serpents, who are supposedly very dangerous, ended up not attacking her, and she was kind of able to communicate with it. So she's kind of been known as this like beast speaker or beast whisperer, and people have always kind of, you know, whispered about her and thought that she was kind of weird, but she doesn't really know what to make of it. She's just a really big lover of animals and counts herself very lucky. She is best friends with a guy named Dante. He is in the military, and he is also the brother of the future king of this kingdom, and she is like obsessed with him. She loves him so much. She wants to marry him. They have like, I think, kissed when they were younger. I don't really know like what's going to happen with them, but we just know that Fallon is so enamored with her best friend Dante. So basically how the plot kicks off in this book is Fallon and her grandmother take care of Fallon's mother. Fallon's mother is very sick, and she keeps saying, Bronwyn is here and it's time. And nobody knows what this means. Fallon just thinks, oh, my mom is really sick, and she's just saying really weird things. Fallon comes across this Bronwyn person who essentially tells her like, hey, you need to go find these like 6 iron crows, and then you will end up being queen of the kingdom. It's very like quick and fast how that all happens. So I'm still pretty confused on what this means for Fallon, but reading the synopsis, it says, gathering a slew of iron relics could help me overthrow the current monarch and crown Dante's brother to rule at my side, then treasure hunting I would go. So she wants to help out Dante and his family, and also doesn't like the current monarchy, so she's like, okay, if this random person has told me to go hunt down these iron crows, I'm going to do it. And then it says, if only the Oracle, who was Bronwyn, had warned me about the winged demon I was releasing into the world, and that I would become this demon's obsession. So I do think that there's going to be a bit of an enemies to lovers romance between this demon and Fallon, which I'm thankful for. At first I thought that this was going to be like a friends to lovers, and I was a little bit worried because Fallon is so in love with Dante that I was like, where's the tension? Where's the anticipation? Like, that's not very fun. But that is the plot so far, and none of that was spoilers, by the way. That's all like on the back of the book, but that is where I am at. I am liking this book. I will say it is new adult, but it kind of reads like a YA fantasy. I expected kind of going into it for it to be more adult, and there are some like adult themes and some adult subject matter, but the main character is she's a little bit naive, I would say right now. I'm hoping that she grows a little bit, but I do think that the story is really fun so far. As I said, I really like the setting, and I feel like kind of once I get more into this book, I'm going to get more wrapped in. I am liking it, and I'm very intrigued. There's nothing really really like bad standing out about it. She does just feel a little bit immature at the moment. So that is my reading update so far. I am definitely going to go try to get a big chunk of this book done. I want to get into the meat of the book, see what it's all about, because this book has incredible ratings and people really love it. And I think I will too. This book sounds right up my alley. So I think I just need to get farther into it. But that is my very long-winded reading check-in. I hope that you guys are having a great day. I will probably talk to you tomorrow with a reading update on House of Beating Wings. Hello friends, happy Tuesday. Hope you're having a lovely week. I have very exciting reading check-ins. I have finished a book and started another. So let's just get straight into it. I have to record this kind of quickly because I gotta go, but also my hair is like half dry, half wet right now. So if I look a little wacky, that's why. But more importantly, we're here to talk about books. And the book that I am going to be talking about is House of Beating Wings by Olivia Wildenstein. I pronounced her last name wrong in the last clip. I apologize. But I actually finished this yesterday and I unfortunately did not love this book. Really sad, was very excited about it. I think it has a really cool premise. The setting was cool. I was intrigued when I started it, but the more I read it, just the less intrigued I got. My biggest problem with this book is, one, the writing style, I just don't mesh with it. It's very surface level. I don't feel like I really got to know the main character very well. And really my biggest issue with this book is the character's motivations were never clear or explained. And she didn't question anything that was going on in her world. You know, Fallon was told by this random oracle, hey, go find these 5 iron crows and then you'll be queen. And she was just like, okay. And it's odd to me. The plot was just laid out very, very quickly. We didn't really get a lot of explanations. And I just feel like if you're a regular girly, a regular half-fae, half-human girly living in magical Venice, and some person told you that you were gonna be queen, you would question this a little bit. I just like when we get to know the character a little bit more and their inner workings. And the way that Fallon was presented to us, she doesn't seem like the type of gal who would just be like, okay, cool, I'm gonna be queen, okay, bye, don't care. I'll go look for these crows. It didn't make sense. There was no explanation for her actions, for her motives. I had a hard time following it. Overall, everything was very surface level. I don't think this book is horrible. I just think it's not for me. Didn't really work. I need just a little bit more explanation. I need a little bit more of the character's inner thoughts and feelings about situations. And I just feel like she never questioned any of the wild things that were happening to her. Unfortunately, this was not a hit. I gave it 2 stars. Very sad about it because I was very excited about this book, but they can't all be winners. So unfortunately, this one is not going to be a fave, but I did start, I'm literally on page 22 of A Lust for Blood by K.C. Smith. So I'm reading this on my Kindle and this is an interesting book. It's an interesting premise. Our main character is kind of like the villain, which is cool. So she has a curse on her, which essentially makes her like a demon, like a blood-sucking, soul-sucking demon. She's aware of this curse and she hates that she does the things that she does, like murder people. And so she decides the only way for her to handle this is to lock herself up in this forbidden forest, basically. I think she even creates the forest magically and keeps herself in there, barricaded away from the humans, and thinks this is how I will solve things. Well, then a very strapping young lad who is a demon hunter sets out to find this demon because this demon has been terrorizing the town, and I think he's gonna get to the forest and see that this demon is kind of cute and he might be into her. So that is my understanding of the premise thus far. I am on page 22. Perhaps I will correct myself in a future clip, but I think that that is the general storyline. I'm excited. I really like the writing style so far. I think it is well done. I really liked the prologue. It opened with a bang. I like having this sort of female main character villain, sort of an anti-hero thing. I don't know. I'm into it so far. It's also a fairly short book. It's less than 300 pages. I think it's 270 pages, which I feel is very rare for a fantasy. So I think I am in for some enemies to lovers demon goodness. So I'm excited about that. And that is my update for today. It is actually snowing right now, which is very exciting. And we put our Christmas tree up. I will have either shown you guys that in B-roll or I will show you that after this clip. And it's beautiful. She's gorgeous. She's a star. So I'm going to sit by my Christmas tree and watch the snowfall and read my book, which just sounds like the coziest thing ever. So I will talk to you guys later when I have a little bit more to say about A Lust for Blood. Hi friends. Today is Wednesday, November 30th, and it's the last day of this vlog. It has to be the last day of this vlog because I really need to upload this video tomorrow on December 1st to be the first video of vlogmas for December. So today's gonna be a very busy day. It's go time and I'm going to be checking in to hold myself accountable here. I do have a reading update for A Lust for Blood. I also have a little bit of book mail, and yeah, I figured I would just talk to you guys kind of about my December video plans because I have solidified them a bit more since I last discussed it, and I gotta get myself in gear for the month of December. So I do have like most of my plans figured out. This vlog is like the last video that I need to like get done before everything else will kind of start running on schedule. So let's keep it moving. A Lust for Blood by Casey Smith. I'm actually on page 107. So I'm about a little less than 40% of the way done with the book. Let me tell you what I've been thinking of it so far. So I told you guys the synopsis yesterday, and I'm now kind of into the story a bit more, and I am liking it. There's things I like about this book and there's things that I don't like about this book. I'm just going to talk about like the one thing that I'm not liking about this book first, and then I will talk about the positives. There is one thing that has occurred in this book a couple times that I'm just like, ugh, please, enough. Something that I've kind of discovered that I don't love in books, particularly fantasy novels, because that's where I see this happen a lot, is repetitive like memory flashbacks in order to explain magic systems, plot lines, world building, anything like that. What I mean by that, and I just want to say like some memory flashbacks are fine and I understand the significance of them in the story, but this is what has happened a few times in A Lust for Blood so far. We've had, in the first 100 pages, we had like 4 or 5 memory flashbacks where our main character will be doing something in present day, we're in the story, and then all of a sudden their eyes go glassy, they look off in the distance, and then we get like a 4-page account of something that happened 500 years ago that explains, you know, why does this person have this magical power, or why did this person choose this lifestyle, or what happened to get us here. I just feel like it really takes me out of the story. I want to be with our character now, and I want to get to know them, and I want to see them in action and talking to people and all these different things, and then sprinkling in those little bits of information in a way that's not just like an abrupt stop everything, like let's go back and do like a 4 or 5 page account of something that happened in their past. I don't know. Do you guys know what I mean? Like, I don't like that. It really takes me out of the story, and I think that memory flashbacks can be well done. One, if there's kind of like hints to something that happened in the past and then finally there's a big reveal of it, I think that's cool because it builds suspense and it still keeps you kind of in present day and you get to know the character as the book goes on without having to just like stop so much, or just do like, you know, 1 or 2 to kind of like solidify something and then like let's move on. So that was something that was bothering me throughout the first 100 pages of this book because we just kept going back in time to explain something that was happening in present day, and also just to the like, oh, all of a sudden I started looking off into the distance and my eyes kind of glazed over. I had a memory, blah, blah, blah. We get the whole memory. And then they just keep walking and doing their thing. It's just kind of like, I don't know. I don't like that. I don't like that version of storytelling, I think. I just want to spend more time with the character. I want to get to know them. And I think that there are ways to convey plot lines and characteristics and magic systems and all those different things in fantasy novels without having to do that. Because it just feels very like, the pacing feels off, I guess, is my biggest issue. But I'm happy to say that as of now, where I'm at a little bit past the 100 page mark, that hasn't been happening as much, and we are actually seeing Galen and Oriana, who are the characters, by the way, I don't know if I've said their names. We're seeing those two interact, and we're finally getting like into the meat of the story. We're finding out how these two are going to interact and sort of how we've got here. So I am hopeful that the book just continues to go up from here, that the plot just continues to get better, and we see some fun demon hunter battling it out and then falling in love. So as I said, I need to finish this book today. Like have to. So I will check in again, of course, with more reading updates on that. But I do have book mail from Pango Books. I love Pango Books to death. Look at this bag. Very, very cute. So I do know what this is. Okay, so it is a very nicely wrapped edition of House of Earth and Blood. If you guys watched my last vlog where I had like a ton of bookish unboxings, I got dust jackets from Etsy, Crescent City dust jackets, and I still hadn't put them on because I did order a copy of House of Earth and Blood on Pango Books, but then it never came. So I canceled that order and then ordered another one. So this one is here now, and here we have the original version. So I now have my 2 copies and I can put the dust jackets on So I figure I will do that with you guys as I discuss December. So these are the dust jackets if you need reminding. Super beautiful. So December, Vlogmas, let's talk, you and I think like traditionally Vlogmas is like you like daily vlog, right? I will not be daily vlogging. I wish I could, but just with my schedule, I work full time. I haven't prepared for that. So that won't be happening for me. However, I am going to be uploading either every other day or every 2 days. So that is my schedule for now. And that does not include any vlogs. So when I made my schedule, I picked out all the videos I wanted to film for end of year content, and I didn't factor in any vlogs when I did that. So it will probably be more than that. So I don't really know what it will look like, but that's a good thing because if anything, it's just gonna be more videos. So there might be a week or two where I'm uploading like 4 or 5 times that week, which is exciting. So I am going to upload from December 1st through December 24th. I think I'll stop on Christmas Eve. And yeah, I'll be uploading every other day or every 2 days. And then I will take the last week of December off just to chill, hang out. And then my first upload back will be on January 1st, which I think is on a Sunday. So I am very excited for Vlogmas. And I'm just excited too, as like a viewer of BookTube, to see everyone's videos. I love end of year content so much. I can't wait to see everyone's favorite books of the year, because inevitably my TBR will grow like crazy this month because of what everyone ends up loving. These are always so hard to do, by the way. One thing I love about Nerdy Ink is they have like, not like perforated, but sort of like areas where you know that you can bend the paper to line up perfectly with the book. This is just essentially like a poster. So I'm gonna do this for a second and then I will be back to talking. So that is the first book. Looks super cute. I love Bryce and Danica. They look amazing. So that is the first book, House of Earth and Blood. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, I'm just gonna run through my day with you guys. I need to get my nails done today. I don't know if you guys can tell. You probably can't. My nails are disgusting. They need like a trigger warning, honestly. They're fine, but like they're so grown out and I hate it. And I type a lot in my job, so it's just driving me nuts how long they are. But I am kind of weird in the way that I absolutely love having my nails like done, right? Like I love the final product, but I hate the process of getting my nails done. I don't know why. It just stresses me out so much. Like I don't know what it is. And this nail salon I go to, they're all so nice. They're so sweet. They're amazing. Like they're doing nothing wrong. It's me. I'm the problem. But I'm like, I really want to get my nails done, but I don't know. I get really anxious at the nail salon. Does anyone else have that happen to them? But I love it. So like I always go back. I don't know what I'm saying, but my nails need to be done because they just look really bad right now. And now we have House of Sky and Breath. Looks pretty gorge, if you ask me, with Hunty Boy on the front. So that, I think, is it for updates. So today, I need to finish A Lust for Blood. I need to check in with you guys and film an outro. I need to get my nails done and kind of just get organized for Vlogmas. I'm pretty much organized. I have this notebook, which has my schedule in it, and then I have another notebook with like the specific details of the video. So that is it for now. That was probably a lot of me doing nothing, but I will talk to you guys in a little bit when I have another reading update or my nails are done or something. But I need to finish this book today, so I will see you guys in a few hours. And yeah, I have a lot of things to do. Hello besties, so it is a few hours later and I have finished A Lust for Blood. So unfortunately this book did not turn out the way that I hoped it did. I was really disappointed with the execution of this plot, mainly. That is my biggest issue. What was earlier bothering me in the novel with, you know, kind of the memory flashbacks of these long drawn out sort of explanations of plot lines and magic systems and history, when I feel like that could have just been shown to us throughout the plot of the book, was now replaced with these long monologues dialogues of different characters kind of explaining magic systems and lore and things like that, that once again are significant to the plot but aren't really being shown to us. This book just had a lot of telling versus showing. I'm not like a huge stickler for that if other things in the book are going well. If I'm really enjoying how the characters are written, if I'm liking the plot thus far, if I am enjoying the writing a ton, a little bit of telling versus showing is not going to completely ruin my experience with a book. But I truly felt like not a lot actually happened in the novel, and we were just told so many different things. And I will say too, like for the romance, they had a few cute moments, but it was like 0 to 60 them thinking in their heads that they were in love with each other. Oriana had like a, someone that she was in love with years prior, and she was with that person I think for multiple years, and she said that she loved Garen more than she loved him, and she knew Garen for like 2 weeks, and for half that time he was like ignoring her. So I don't know. I thought that was a little strange. I didn't quite buy their feelings for each other. And then kind of the final resolution of how are we going to fix this problem with the demons, with Oriana, all of that. It was all resolved very quickly, very conveniently. Kind of made me think like, why had no one else like thought of that or attempted that? And it was all just a little bit too convenient for my liking. So unfortunately, I gave this book 2 stars. It's just not for me. I'm not like mad at it. I didn't really find it to be that compelling. I didn't really find anything in the book to be just anything for me to get excited about. I will say I thought that the plot was really cool. I just didn't really like the execution. So that is going to be it for this fantasy romance reading vlog. Not the way I wanted to end my November or my fantasy romance reading vlog, but that's showbiz. This will be my last fantasy romance reading vlog of 2022. I hope that you guys like this series. It's definitely one I want to continue on in the new year because I have plenty more fantasy romances to read. But just for a little bit of a wrap up, A Lust for Blood, I'm gonna give it 2 stars, just not really for me. House of Eating Wings, after reading A Lust for Blood, I would almost consider raising my rating to maybe like a 2.5 or a 3 star. I think that book had a few more redeeming qualities over my experience with A Lust for Blood. But the star of the show, the It Girl, is of course Mother of Death and Dawn, which is the finale of the War of Lost Hearts trilogy. If you take anything from my channel this year, it's please read Carissa Broadbent's books. Please read the War of Lost Hearts trilogy and The Serpent and the Wings of Night, which is the first book in a new series that she has coming. The second book will be coming out in March, I believe. Her books are amazing, so if you're a fan of fantasy romance, definitely pick them up. So that is it for this video. This video will be coming out on December 1st, so I just want to say happy Vlogmas, happy Bookmas. I'm really excited for this month. If there's any specific end of year content or December content you want to see from me, let me know down below. For the emoji for this video, go ahead and just leave the drop of blood emoji for A Lust for Blood. So if you made it to this point in the video and you wanted to let me know, go ahead and leave that comment down below. As always, my Instagram and my Goodreads are linked down below. You are welcome to follow me on there at any time. I really appreciate that you watched this video. I hope that you are having a fantastic day, and I will catch you guys in the next one.